Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is falling for your co-star in a multi-million-dollar film franchise. At least that's the way love seems to work in Hollywood. With the high pressure and scrutiny that only show business can bring, it seems extra hard to keep a relationship going against the demands of life in the spotlight. But for every coupling that's fallen apart, there's another relationship that's blossomed. So join ScreenRant as we go through these 15 films that ended actors' relationships and served as the starting point for something new.
Oh my God, let me see that.
He was one of the most beloved and pined-after movie stars of his generation, and she was the star of the seminal 90s sitcom. Yes, we still cannot get over that time Leonardo DiCaprio and Lisa Kudrow broke up. Just kidding. That relationship never happened, that we know of. Instead, we're talking about Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. They were Hollywood's biggest it couple.
Really? Aren't you sweet?
Meeting in 1998, getting married in 2000, and then sadly, divorcing in 2005. But what actually happened to the couple? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Smith happened, that's what. While working on the spy-themed romantic action comedy, Pitt and co-star Angelina Jolie began an affair that led to a 10-year marriage and a busy household full of children. While fans grew used to Brangelina and the tabloids went gaga over the couple, many forget that the split between Brad and Jen created a rift between fans, with many sympathies being sent to Aniston and shifty-eyed accusations spread about Angelina. Thankfully, things seem to have cooled down in the years since. Like Brad and Jen, another Jennifer has had multiple relationships tested by the busy Hollywood lifestyle. Jennifer Garner may be in the tabloids now thanks to her split with Ben Affleck, but it's that same relationship with Batfleck that led to the end of her previous marriage. Before Daredevil, Garner was married to character actor, director, and screenwriter Scott Foley. Affleck was also in a pretty famous coupling with J-Lo. Apparently, the original Bennifer was not meant to last. In early 2004, about a year after Daredevil was released, Affleck ended his engagement to Jennifer Lopez while Garner and Foley got divorced. Ben Affleck confirmed that the sparks were flying on the Daredevil set, saying that although he met Garner when the two were working on Pearl Harbor, they both fell for each other while filming the aforementioned Hero movie. Sadly, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's relationship had an expiration date, and the two divorced in 2018.
What does that tell you about how emotionally available you are?
Rumors regularly swirl about the two potentially reuniting, but it remains to be seen if they'll ever rekindle those sparks from their first costumed encounters as Daredevil and Elektra. Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool gets so much respect among fan circles that people often forget he also played a DC character too. And hey, it's not that he was necessarily forgettable, he really tried his best. Not only do we forget much of the details of the Green Lantern film,
Yeah, me too.
but we're also more likely to forget the behind-the-scenes drama, where Reynolds and Blake Lively were first paired together. They reportedly became friends while working on the film. Obviously, it blossomed into something more, and likely led to the end of Blake's relationship with Penn Badgley and the eventual breakup of Reynolds' marriage. We all seem to forget that he was once with Marvel superstar Scarlett Johansson. How will things go if Deadpool eventually partners with the MCU? Well, things won't get too awkward, unless Black Widow comes back from the grave. Anyone remember House of Wax? Sure, 2005 doesn't seem like that long ago, but it was a different time then. The final Star Wars prequel and the first Christian Bale Batman film were both hitting the screens, and One Tree Hill was one of the more popular shows on television. In fact, two sweethearts from One Tree Hill appeared to be happily married before the onset events of House of Wax came between them. Alas, the union between One Tree Hill stars Chad Michael Murray and Sophia Bush were not meant to last.
You serious?
Several months following their wedding, rumors were swirling around the House of Wax set that apparently he and his co-star, reality TV sensation, and hotel heiress Paris Hilton were rumored to be getting cozy. That news may have been the last straw for Sophia Bush, and she called it quits with Chad Michael Murray later that year. Seems like the behind-the-scenes drama might have packed more of a punch than the stuff on screen. If any movie chronicled a doomed romance best, it's gotta be Titanic. However, Jack and Rose weren't the only two lovebirds sunk by that iceberg. Apparently, James Cameron's addiction to work drove a wedge into his marriage with Linda Hamilton. The Terminator starlet met Cameron when she played Sarah Connor in the 1984 film, and following Cameron's divorce from director Catherine Bigelow, the pair eventually married in 1997. But Linda Hamilton went on the record saying that it was the Titanic that ultimately ended their marriage. Apparently, Hamilton went through the entire award season supporting her husband and his film, smiling her way through the Oscars and the Golden Globes, all the while knowing that her relationship with Cameron was soon to be on the rocks. The pair officially called it quits in 1999. In 2000, Cameron married actress Susie Amos, who played Rose's granddaughter in the film. While Cameron has been married multiple times, it appears that the fifth time's the charm. He and Amos have remained together all of these years, and while he and Hamilton may have split up, they set aside any differences to work together again on Terminator Dark Fate. Professionally, their hearts will go on. Everyone loves When Harry Met Sally, but what about when Sally ended it with Dennis Quaid? They first worked together in 1987's Inner Space, but it was their collaboration on the film DOA that sealed the deal. They were married in 1991 and spent 10 years together until Meg Ryan was working on the film Proof of Life with Russell Crowe. It was during this movie that Ryan and Crowe were spotted getting cozy together outside of the film shoot. Meg and Dennis' son Jack even recalled seeing pictures of his parents on tabloids near a checkout counter with a page tear superimposed between them. While his parents gained shared custody of Jack, it seems he adjusted well to their divorce. As for Meg and Dennis, the pair have moved on, but that hasn't stopped Dennis from commenting that he still has fond feelings for the actress. Any past issues seem to have cooled down. And while mainstream heartthrobs can experience heartbreak, so too can Hollywood royalty. Tori Spelling, star of Beverly Hills 90210 and the long-awaited revival BH 90210, has had her own share of tabloid trials and tribulations. Some of you may think that a made-for-TV film couldn't possibly have the same behind-the-scenes drama as a big-budget motion picture, but even cable can score scandals both in front of and behind the camera. While working on Mind Over Murder, Tori Spelling and co-star Dee McDermott conducted an affair while each had their own spouses at home. The pair eventually split with their respective husband and wife and became an official couple in their own right. They got hitched in 2006 and produced some of their own reality TV. According to recent interviews with Dean, the two apparently also have matching tattoos of each other's names in certain unmentionable areas. As if the tattoos weren't enough of a sign of commitment, the two of them also share 5 kids of their own and a 6th from Dean's previous marriage. Sounds like their story has more juicy details than the writers of BH 90210 could possibly come up with. While Tori and Dean have been able to make their own reality into reality television, Lein Rimes and Eddie Cibrian ended up unwillingly becoming the subjects of reality TV fodder. Eddie Cibrian was married to Brandi Glanville, star of Bravo's The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Lein Rimes had her own marriage with Dean Chalamet. Side note, what's with all these Deans? Anyway, Leanne and Eddie co-starred in 2009's Northern Lights, Sparks Flew, Love Blossomed, and the pair were discovered hooking up like the sighting of an elusive Aurora Borealis. The television adaptation, with a screenplay by famous romance novelist Nora Roberts, seems like it couldn't even compare to the real-life scandal. In the aftermath of this affair, both couples divorced their respective spouses in 2010 and were married the following year. Sure, there was a lot of bad blood going around in 2011, but the two lovers have been able to move past their rocky start, proving to be the patriarch and matriarch of a pretty photogenic blended family on social media. Rimes went so far as to say, "I take responsibility for everything I've done. I hate that people got hurt, but I don't regret the outcome." Once upon a time, Rachel Weisz was engaged to Darren Aronofsky, the indie director who'd gone mainstream with a series of box office hits. Things looked like they couldn't get any better for the couple, and so they didn't. Rachel took a gig working on the film Dreamhouse, and she became an item with her co-star, Daniel Craig.
Oh, I did not know that.
The rest is history. We mean, who could truly resist the charms of James Bond himself? Both Weisz and Craig went on to say that they didn't necessarily fall for each other during filming, but they did end up tying the knot less than a year after principal photography on Dreamhouse ended. And Rachel Weisz's prior engagement to Aronofsky wasn't the only casualty following Dreamhouse. Daniel Craig's engagement to Satsuki Mitchell, which lasted from 2005 to 2010, met its untimely end around the time Dreamhouse wrapped. Thankfully, the couple weathered any potential negative publicity and have been happily wedded since 2011. Marilyn Monroe was the starlet who stole all the headlines. Her provocative demeanor may have sold magazines, but she was more than just a pretty face. An avid reader with a complex personality, Marilyn was the subject of affection for many competing men. In the mid-1950s, one guy won her heart, Arthur Miller. Considered by many to be one of the greatest playwrights of the 20th century, Arthur Miller was the man behind Death of a Salesman, The Crucible, and All My Sons, just to name a few. But when the power couple collaborated on the film The Misfits, the movie proved to be their breaking point. The two argued over the creative direction of the film, with Miller constantly rewriting his script as they shot it in the dry, hot Nevada desert. Monroe grew impatient with the writer's sexism and didn't take too kindly to his dismissive nature. Still, many critics say that this performance is the highlight of Marilyn's career. Unfortunately, their marriage didn't survive this production process, and Marilyn eventually passed away around a year after the film's release. Unfun fact, Marilyn's co-star Clark Gable also shuffled off of his mortal coil shortly after the filming of this cursed motion picture. While Stewart and Pattinson's 4-year relationship lasted over the period of Twilight movies, it was brought to an end when Kristen Stewart was caught with her Snow White and Huntsman director, Rupert Sanders. Their cheating scandal caused the director's marriage to end and also brought Kristen's relationship with Robert Pattinson to a close. It didn't end without a statement from Kristen, however. The actress went on to say, "This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob." This statement didn't seem to do the trick and the couple broke up. Still, things seem to be on the mend between Bella and Edward. When asked whether he was friendly with Stewart, Pattinson recently gave a simple and affirmative yes. While working on Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise had his own thunder to deal with. The thrill-seeking star was married to Mimi Rogers from 1987 to 1989. It was on the set of the Tony Scott-directed racing film that Tom Cruise met Nicole Kidman, then a 22-year-old actress from Australia. The two reportedly fell for each other, and Cruise's marriage to Rogers came to its end. While Nicole Kidman prefers not to talk about the intimate details of this time in her life, citing that she thinks it's disrespectful to her husband Keith Urban, she has gone on the record saying that getting married to a powerful actor at a young age, while relatively new to Hollywood, may have kept her from facing the harassment issues that many other actresses of her age experienced. Despite that, Nicole Kidman had her own issues to deal with. After her divorce from Tom Cruise in 2001, Nicole was estranged from the 2 adopted children she shared with Cruise. It's been reported that she's been reunited with her daughter, Isabella. Despite any drama that may have followed her divorce, including leaving her ex-husband's church, Kidman has, at times, been pretty diplomatic about the whole thing, saying during one interview, "That was a great relationship. I think it just ran its course." Clint Eastwood is the quintessential Hollywood tough guy.
And you gotta get mean. I mean plumb mad dog mean.
Apparently, he can be pretty tough in love, too. Eastwood had been married to Maggie Johnson since 1954, but he started a relationship with actress Sandra Locke that blossomed during filming of the hit 1976 western The Outlaw Josie Whales. Eastwood and Locke eventually started living together, all while Eastwood stayed married to Maggie. The affair was public knowledge, and Eastwood closely managed Sandra Locke's burgeoning career. In fact, it wasn't until 1984 that Maggie and Clint officially divorced. And during those many years, Locke and Eastwood were an item. Sandra Locke almost exclusively made appearances in his films. Yet, by 1989, Locke and Eastwood's relationship soured, since they never married and she never officially ended a previous marriage to a friend with whom she had a platonic relationship. Sandra Locke had trouble getting any legal compensation from Eastwood after their breakup. Locke's career slowed, and she was hemmed in by deals she's made with the tough action star. Meanwhile, Eastwood remarried and continued to make hit films into the next several decades. Unfortunately, the Hollywood system doesn't work for everyone. Forget Brangelina and Bennifer, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton are the couple that wrote the book on intense and passionate Hollywood love affairs. These two were paired together for the film Cleopatra, and they were both well known for their notorious romantic partnerships and parting ways.
Meaning to do the best, I suppose I could not have done worse.
Yet, when they first started working on the historical epic, the two couldn't seem to stand each other. After calling each other derogatory names, Taylor and Burton shocked the director during the first intimate scene. They locked lips. The director called cut, and they wouldn't stop making out. Following this moment, they were inseparable. It seemed like a great thing for the two of them, but it wasn't so great for their respective spouses. Taylor was married to Eddie Fisher, who had previously cheated on his former wife, Debbie Reynolds, to be with Elizabeth Taylor in the first place. As for Richard Burton, he was married to Sybil Williams.
That makes how many?
The woman he divorced in 1964. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton married that same year and stayed together for the following decade. Then they split up for about a year before reuniting. They truly were the definition of an on-again, off-again relationship. And bringing it full circle, we're basically back to where we started. It's a little bit poetic that Brad Pitt rounds out this list, but it's his passionate relationship with Angelina Jolie that got us going in the first place.
You know what I'm saying? Are you following me?
Mm-hmm. It's Brad and Angelina's film By the Sea that may have accelerated the end of Brangelina's relationship. In By the Sea, Brad and Angelina play a couple whose marriage is nearing its end. After reports of bickering on set and not so friendly finger-pointing that placed some blame on Angelina's attitude, the two called it quits about a year after By the Sea finished filming. Since Brad Pitt became single, the pot stirrers and tea spillers in the entertainment community have been on the lookout for any signs that Pitt might get back with Jennifer Aniston.
You have no idea what I'm capable of.
After all, they both became single around the same time. While sources close to the two haven't hinted at any kind of romantic reunion, it's been reported that they two are on friendly terms. There were even rumors of a couple's massage in Mexico.
What rumor?
Whether that actually happened or not, we're just happy that people can stay friendly in the gossipy, image-based world of Hollywood. At least Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are still holding it together like a beacon of celebrity stability. And while the lives and loves of movie stars may not always have happy endings, we'll always have their movies to keep us hopeful, open-minded, and starry-eyed. And if you want to stay up to date on all the other news going around in front of and behind the scenes, then subscribe to ScreenRant. As long as Hollywood keeps making new celebrities, we'll keep watching them. We'll see you around.